Welcome to Iconic. In this video, we'll be looking over everything there is to know about Supreme. If you're interested, stay tuned. Supreme is an American clothing and skateboard lifestyle brand established in New York City in April of 1994. The brand aims to appeal to youth culture in general as well as the skateboarding and hip-hop scenes specifically. The company makes skateboards in addition to clothing and accessories. The red box logo with Supreme in white Futura Heavy Oblique is thought to be largely based on Barbara Kruger's art. The Supreme brand is popular in China, Japan, Europe, and the US. Supreme is owned by VF Corporation. The brand was founded by James Jebbia in 1994. The first Supreme store opened in an old office space on Lafayette Street in Lower Manhattan in April of 1994. It was designed with skaters in mind, with a unique design for the store layout. By arranging the clothes around the perimeter of the store, a large central space permitted skaters with backpacks to skate into the store and still feel comfortable. This store had its core group of skaters who served as its team in 1994, which included late actors Justin Pierce and Harold Hunter, and the first employees were extras from the Larry Clark film Kids. Jebbia explained that he opened Supreme in Lower Manhattan because at the time there was nowhere else to buy skate products in the area. He focused primarily on more obscure, harder-to-find items and credited the open-mindedness of skaters with the brand's ability to take risks. In 2004, a second location opened on North Fairfax Avenue in Los Angeles, California, which is nearly double the size of the original New York City store and features an indoor skate bowl. Other locations include Paris, which opened in 2016, London, which opened in September 2011, Tokyo, Harajuku, Dakinyama, and Shibuya, Nagoya, Osaka, and Fukuoka. The additional locations emulate the original Lafayette Street store's design. Stores feature rotating art displays and use videos and music to attract attention. Supreme stocks its own clothing label as well as other skateboard brands such as Vans, Nike SB, Spitfire Wheels, and Thrasher, among others. James Jebbia was quoted in saying that anything Supreme releases will never be classified as limited, but notes that they make short runs of their products because they, quote, don't want to get stuck with stuff nobody wants. Supreme releases 2 collections each year. Instead of offering the entire line at once, the brand releases a few pieces online and in-store for the current season's collection every Thursday. In October 2017, Supreme opened their 11th store and second in New York City in the Williamsburg neighborhood of Brooklyn. On October 6, 2017, James Jebbia confirmed that the label had sold a significant stake in the company of roughly 50%, around $500 million, to private equity firm the Carlyle Group. On February 25, 2019, Supreme moved their original Manhattan location from 274 Lafayette Street to 190 Bowery. Supreme opened its 12th store on Market Street in San Francisco in October 2019. In 2019, a collection of every Supreme deck ever produced sold for $800,000 at the Sotheby's auction. In November 2020, VF Corporation announced that they agreed to buy Supreme in an all-cash deal for $2.1 billion. VF Corporation bought out the investors Carlyle Group and Good Partners LLC as well as founder James Jebbia. According to VF, Jebbia will continue to manage the business. The 13th store of the company opened on May 6, 2021 in Milan. The original Supreme skate team consisted of Ryan Hickley, Justin Pierce, Gio Estevez, Paul Leung, Chris Keefe, Jones Keefe, Peter Beakey, and Mike Hernandez. Other pro skaters, such as Harold Hunter and Jeff Peng, became associates of the company due to Supreme's roots within the New York City skate culture. The current skate team, as of 2021, includes Aiden Mackey, Brian Anderson, Ben Cadow, Jason Dill, Sean Pablo, Nakel Smith, Tyshawn Jones, Mark Gonzalez, Kater Silla, Sage Alesser, Rowan Zarilla, Seven Strong, Troy Gibson, Vince Towsery, Caleb Barnett, Kevin Bradley, Nick Stain, Kevin Rodriguez, and Beatrice Domond. Following the Paris store opening in 2016, Supreme also formed a French skate team that includes Diane Nakadiri, Manuel Schenk, Lucien Momy, Dadoum Chabon, Damien Bulle, Victor Demonte, Valentine Jetante, and Samir Krim. Supreme has been granted trademarks in many countries within North America, Europe, and Asia. In 2018, Supreme lost a lawsuit in an Italian court, and the European Union refused to register its trademark. So, Supreme-branded items not licensed, approved, or manufactured by Supreme could be sold in Italy and Spain. Samsung was able to sign a promotion agreement with a fake Supreme brand in China. Finally, in November 2019, an appellate court of the European Union Intellectual Property Office, or EUIPO, found that Supreme's brand is distinct and eligible for an EU trademark. Quote, "It has been widely demonstrated that the sign is used as a brand and in some cases seen as a cult in the field of streetwear," the court said. On August 27, 2020, EUIPO granted Supreme a Europe-wide trademark for bags, clothing, and retail stores. In 2018, Supreme was awarded the Council of Fashion Designers of America Menswear Designer of the Year award. Fashion photographer Terry Richardson has produced some of the brand's most notable photographs, including of Michael Jordan, Kermit the Frog, 3-6 Mafia, Lou Reed, Lady Gaga, Neil Young, Gucci Mane, Nas, and Morrissey. William "Bill" Strobeck serves as Supreme's main filmer and has created several web edits for the brand such as Pussy Gangster 2016, Candyland 2019, and Stallion 2021. Strobeck has also filmed and directed both of Supreme's full-length films, Cherry 2014 and Blessed 2018. Kenneth Capello made some Supreme photo tees with Mike Tyson, Dipset, and Raekwon. During the fall-winter 2017 season, Supreme collaborated with fashion house Louis Vuitton for a menswear collection. It was ranked as the best collaboration of 2017 by Vogue. Supreme's collaboration with Takashi Murakami raised $1 million for COVID-19 pandemic relief. Other notable brands that Supreme has collaborated with include Kangol, Emilio Pucci, Anti-Hero Skateboards, New Era, True Religion, A Bathing Ape, Nike, Fox, Vans, The North Face, Spitfire Wheels, Champion, Stussy, Comme des Garçons, Timberland, Lacoste, Thrasher Magazine, Independent Trucks, and many more. Supreme collaborated with Yohji Yamamoto during late 2020, bringing in Yamamoto's avant-garde tailoring and aesthetics. Supreme and Yohji Yamamoto would later collaborate again in mid-2022, this time bringing in graphics and designs from the video game series Tekken. One explanation for Supreme's popularity with young consumers, enough so to make them line up for hours at a time, has to do with the idea that the brand's products are, quote, emblematic of rebellious youth culture, according to Gage. Quote, "I would call it a brand that's heavily integrated with art and culture that tends to drive demand through consumer desire and consumer passion, as opposed to explicit marketing." In fact, Supreme barely markets itself at all. Quote, "Supreme has become successful in marketing their brand, paradoxically, by not marketing their brand," Gage tells CNBC Make It. "They don't invest in paid marketing at all to the same degree that most apparel or media companies do. What makes them really successful is the community that they're part of and that they've built." However, in its own way, Supreme has found a way to use the brand's own mystique to generate hype that has helped the underground brand gain a global following. The magic lies in their ability to take word-of-mouth marketing and turn the launches of their products into a sort of micro-experiential event. And that means that people have to go to places, buy tickets, get on lists, and end up lining up outside stores. That ends up generating a lot of buzz, a lot of curiosity to the public. Supreme also generates buzz with a never-ending lineup of branded curiosities. Items no one would normally expect to see sold by a skateboard or streetwear brand, but when slapped with Supreme's unmistakable red and white logo, they instantly become must-have products for the most ardent Supreme fans. The company has sold everything from Supreme-branded hammers, nunchucks, and kayaks to a Supreme brick. Literally, a red clay brick stamped with the Supreme logo. Many of those oddball items are still available to buy secondhand online, where a Supreme brick can sell for $130 on StockX. Quote, "At some point, they realize that their demand is so strong they can literally manufacture anything, and people will still buy it because the brand is so strong." The brand even released a Supreme-branded dirt bike through a partnership with Honda and Fox Racing in 2019. The more random a Supreme item may seem, the more sought after it's likely to be by the biggest Supreme fans. Quote, "Some items are easier to get than others, but the ones that are really fun are those ones where they go out on a limb, whether it's a kayak or a motorcycle or a full-sized mountain bike. Whatever the reasoning behind it, Supreme's reluctant, guerrilla-style marketing seems to have had the desired effect. Research on teenagers' retail habits by investment bank Piper Jaffray has shown in recent years that streetwear styles, led by brands like Supreme and Vans, have spurred increased spending among teen consumers. And a spring 2019 survey from Piper Jaffray found that Supreme was Generation Z's 10th favorite brands, though the bank's analysts have noted that the brand's popularity might finally be starting to taper off with teens. Is it possible the association with a private equity giant like the Carlyle Group might have taken a bite out of Supreme's cool, edgy aura? Some wondered if the brand could maintain its hype-fueled mystique and street cred with a private equity behemoth as its 50% owner. Even before the sale to VF Corp, Supreme had already come under fire from critics like comedian Hasan Minhaj, whose Netflix show, Patriot Act, skewered the brand's partnership with the Carlyle Group by making t-shirts featuring red box logos, similar to Supreme's own logo, but with the words "private equity" swapped out for the Supreme name. Much like Supreme's products, Minhaj made a small run of 100 shirts, sold them for a low price, and then watched them fetch many multiples more on the resale market due to the laws of supply and demand. For instance, as branding expert Cliff Sloan points out, there were concerns that the Carlyle Group would want to see more revenue from Supreme and push the brand to move away from its strategy of limited releases that drive up demand for new products in favor of a more mass-market approach. Quote, "Companies make investments in order to grow those investments," Sloan says of Carlyle's investment in Supreme. It remains to be seen, though, how the most ardent Supreme fans would view such a move. Quote, "One runs there is that if the brand does go mass, it is, contradictory to the way that it built its model with the limited edition releases. And that stands to potentially compromise its street cred, compromise its sense of cool with its core audience base," says Sloan. For Migraine, the Carlyle Group investment left him, quote, "a little bit concerned initially." Quote, "You wonder, are things going to change or are they going to stop being who they are?" Migraine says. But he adds that the past 2 years since the deal was announced haven't brought any of the potentially major changes to Supreme's business model that die-hard fans like himself might have worried about. Of course, now, fans and skeptics alike will have to wonder what the future holds for Supreme as a portfolio brand under the ownership of the Denver-based apparel conglomerate, VF Corp. And with that, we've reached the end of this video all about the fashion company Supreme. If you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe for content just like it.